He was Mommy's little angel.
Baby Bink is not a regular baby.
And Daddy's pride and joy.
Bye-bye. Whoa, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
But Baby Bink was bored. So when the big city called, Baby Bink had to answer. 20th Century Fox invites you to see the world through the eyes of a child. Now he's off on an adventure.
Our sources tell us that a baby boy got up and crawled away from his home this morning.
The family has offered a reward of $5 million.
Baby tracks.
Babies are obviously more dangerous than we thought.
I seen him.
What? Huh?
It's in the big broad's purse.
Eddie, he's getting up. Step on it, Eddie. Baby, starboard side.
You know anything about that vehicle?
Yes, it belongs to us.
You left the engine running.
I've been having battery trouble. Just stopped by to admire the beautiful... Ow! Words. Where'd he go? We'll grab him as he goes by. There it is! Baby luck. Don't look away. What are you doing? Hey, quit fooling around!
From John Hughes, the creator of Home Alone.
I lived.
Baby's Day Out. Directed by Patrick Reed Johnson.
Welcome to They Call This a Movie, testing the strength of friendships one terrible movie at a time. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and other podcast services by searching They Call This a Movie, and find us on Twitter and Instagram at TicTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. Welcome back to They Call This a Movie. This is Anthony Del Vecchio. With me, as always, is Dan Aquino and Mark Meyer. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hey, friends.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening on the holiest of weeks. This is WrestleMania week. Not going to be any wrestling talk or anything, but the fun thing that has occurred in the last couple of days is I'm really hoping. I wish that you and the other person I'm taking to WrestleMania at had switched days, just because there's a giant tailgate taking place on Saturday, and there's one on Sunday as well. But I'm like, oh man, he's going to complain about this the entire time. That, he's got to, why do we have to be outside? And I'm just like, Ant would be so much more fun at this.
I thought you were saying Ant was going to complain.
No. The my mother's boyfriend, he is an older person, but he is also a complainer when he can't just, when he's not comfortable. So
I like being outside, so
yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun on Sunday with us. But yeah, when they said, yeah, we're going to do a tailgate, I'm like, well, I'm going to get him to go to this because I'm not missing this. But I'm just slightly regretting it every time thinking about, okay, maybe he'll find someone there and he'll just talk his ear off.
Yeah. And
then I don't have to worry about it. But I am excited. I think we're going to have a good time. Thankfully, our day is a little warmer than Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Will be. It got me prepared for watching this movie because apparently this kid is can take bumps like no other.
Should we have watched a wrestling movie this week?
Oh,
Should we have done that?
Well, this movie was planned for another time.
Yeah.
That's why.
There's not many that we could have chosen that. Yeah.
We could have done the other Hogan movie. But it's too late because we already watched this movie. I've already done my notes.
Yep. And, guys, we're going to stop the podcast. We'll come back tomorrow. we're gonna go watch Ready to Rumble with David Arquette. Oh, I'm sorry, WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette. But yeah. So this has been the second toughest week of work in the last year. The other one was the week leading up to Comic-Con. It's just like, I just want to get this over with. I just want to get to the thing at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to boo Dwayne out of the building.
Can't wait.
What would you do if he heard you specifically booing and like came up to you face to face?
He'd probably put me in my place, to be honest. That guy doesn't miss when it comes to promos, so he'd probably make fun of me, and it would be pretty soul crushing.
Would you just leave the event?
I would just sit there and take it like a little bitch.
Yeah,
I think I would leave. I'm like, I don't want to go through what other people are gonna say about me now. It's just cut my losses.
It'll be all over TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh,
Call
yeah.
me candy ass.
Yeah.
The Rock cuts a promo on a random fan.
Just asking you where you're from. It doesn't matter where you're from. And just like, how can I fall for that? I've been watching this guy for 20 years. Well, I hope that doesn't happen to either.
Yeah. It'd be quite the story to tell.
It would get me back into watching wrestling.
It takes one of your friends just getting eviscerated by arguably the biggest star in the world.
You could pinpoint the second his heart breaks.
It's when he asked him where he's from, and then he does not let him answer.
Now, would you guys stop watching wrestling if that happened to either one of you?
No.
Mark, you would still, you guys would be like, I'm still good.
Yeah, because he's not going to be around for another 7 years. So,
but
what does it matter?
So you're saying you would get the last laugh?
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you got to make fun of me, Dwayne, but you can go back to the XFL or whatever you're doing now. Make more.
I could see that
make
being
more Tooth Fairy movies.
You say that on the way home.
Yeah,
that's what I should have said.
I should have told him to make Tooth Fairy too. What was I thinking?
In a time before social media, you could have said that you did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but The Rock said this to me, but then I came back at him like, why don't you go and make another Tooth Fairy movie? Oh, no way. You said that to The Rock?
Yeah.
I totally did, man. I fucking owned him.
Anyway, we did not watch a rock movie, a wrestling movie, or anything close to that.
I very much feel, before you announce it, that if this movie is remade today, The Rock is in this movie. 1,000%.
I can see that. Yeah. So this week, we were actually supposed to do this last week. We took a week off because my work schedule was insane last week. And this was going to be our March movie of the month, which we no longer do for, we never do polls anymore because X, formerly known as Twitter, is a cesspool, and you are basically talking to the wall at this point, unless you're paying for it. But
and we're not suckers, so
we are not suckers, or we're cheap. Either one. We're either not suckers or we're cheap as fuck.
We're both.
You decide. We could put that on a poll on X, formerly known as Twitter, and we'll find out. But anyway, so we were going to do a theme, seeing as how Dan is imminently becoming a father in the next few days, weeks, potentially months.
I hope
maybe
not.
He is no longer going to be a NIMBY or a dink. He's a dink. No longer be a dink. A double income, no kids.
Oh, okay.
He's still a NIMBY, not my backyard.
It's not good to be a dink. You want to be a doink, Dan.
Okay. What is a doink? Are you saying a wrestling joke there?
I was making a wrestling joke.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, we picked a baby themed movie, and that movie was the 1994 Baby's Day Out, written by the one Mr. John Hughes. So I want to know where you guys came from with Baby's Day Out. Dan, Baby's Day Out, where are you coming from?
I think I saw this movie in theaters with my parents because I would have been 7 when this movie came out, and I want to say I saw it, but I can't remember for sure. But I've definitely seen this movie a few times. And to the point where I was remembering a lot of things as they were coming up, like the whole gorilla scene. I was like, oh yeah, he's like smashes the one guy's hands and throws Joe Mantegna into the orangutan. So I definitely have a history with this movie, and I don't think it holds up from what I remember as a child. A lot of I think it was too slapsticky for my liking as an adult. As a child, I probably loved it. But I think John Hughes kind of went back to the well one too many times with this movie where, the incompetent robbers just injuring themselves, pratfall after pratfall. I think this movie doesn't have a lot of substance to it. I don't know if it's actually based off a book or not, but it feels as if it was based off a book and they were trying to stretch it out, kind of like Jumanji, the first Jumanji, where it's based off of the book, and they just were like, we need to stretch this 10-page book into an hour and a half. So that's kind of how I felt with this movie. I liked the main three robbers. Was Joe Mantegna, Joe Pantaleone, and Brian Haley, I think. Yeah, Brian Haley. I thought they were okay for what they were given. I thought Brian Haley would go on to have more of a career than he did, because he was in Little Giants. Mm-hmm. He was Spike's father, so yes. he had a couple pretty big roles, and then just kind of, I don't want to say faded into obscurity. I see he's done a lot of TV, so which is good. But I thought he might have more of a career ahead of him. But yeah, I thought this movie was just okay. I think if you're showing this to children, it's perfectly fine. But as an adult, there's not a whole lot of substance here. It's basically the three guys hurting themselves and a cute kid. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, what about you? Where do you come from? Baby's Day Out.
So surprisingly, I've never seen this movie before this week. So I was surprised to see that it was a John Hughes movie and not one under his pen name. And from the very beginning, I immediately could tell it was a John Hughes movie, and he basically just made Home Alone, but What If Baby through most of the movie. Because once again, these criminals should be dead from all the things they get hit with and do. And it's missing the charm that Home Alone has, because the kid in that movie, can actually say more than a few just noises and stuff. So, it's mixing the Macaulay Culkin in this movie. But I got to say, I am always happy to see Joey Pants or Joe Mantegna in any role. I think they do the thing a lot of good solid actors do, is they take what they have and do the best they can with it, but they don't make the movie worse. It's not like giving a terrible actor, bad dialogue and then it's just a pain to sit through. They at least make it entertaining, and it's obviously for kids for the most part. It feels like a movie from a bygone era in terms of movies. You would think that a lot of these movies, in terms of very kid-focused, very physical comedy things, I don't think are around as much anymore. Maybe they're just not as popular. But yeah, I think the fun thing for me was realizing, like, when some of the actors would just pop up, like realizing that the nanny was Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City, or the au pair, I guess I think is how she's kind of credited. And the fact that the husband was in a Wedding Singer. He was
Glenn Guglia.
Yeah. So it was just seeing those things pop up and then just going. And then when Laura Flynn Boyle came, I was like, oh, I get it now on screen. It's like, oh, okay.
Wait, what do you get?
No, like, there's some actors that, like, you're sort of like, how, like, why do they, like, so popular in terms of, being on covers of stuff and things like that. And then it's like with the Courtney Cox thing in Masters of the Universe. Go, oh, I get how they started. Okay. Like just the screen presence with the looks and all that. It's just like, oh, she just jumps off the screen when she's on camera. Like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. Sort of thing.
I was trying to figure out how you were how you were connecting that to Matthew Glave.
No, I wasn't connecting it at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying with her, it was like, sort of you see some actors that like through talking to other people and stuff, and like, oh yeah, Laura Flynn Boyle, yeah, she's great or whatever, and just like, I didn't see her in much. I don't, and then I saw this movie, I was like, oh okay. But I thought the one thing was it just shows you by setting this movie had to be set in the time period it was, because these people are way too trusting of those photographers, especially Joe Mantegna's terrible French accent, which is pretty good. But yeah, I think the good thing about this movie is that, you know, as with most John Hughes movies, there's a lot of good dialogue in it, and they get good enough actors that when it's not great dialogue, they don't kill it. Even, you know, Neil Flynn coming in for a short scene kind of just hits all the comedic timing with it. But like I said, it's not something I would like search out and watch, but you know, it'd be a fun thing that I think, you know, you could show to a group of children or something, or make it part of like a sleepover night movies for them. And they would have a good time with it.
Okay. Yeah. As for me, I have seen this. I don't know if I saw this in theaters. I cannot remember, but I definitely have seen this renting it a number of times, probably. It's weirdly paced. The last 40 minutes of this movie is comprised of 2 excruciatingly long scenes.
Yes.
Those of which being the scene where Joe Mantegna's dick gets caught on fire, and then the scene at the construction site. Has to be 40 minutes of this movie, which this movie is an hour and 40 minutes, does not need to be an hour and 40 minutes. And then by then, once that second scene is done, we wrap everything up in like 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's like real quick.
Yeah, so oddly paced, too much slapstick for me. Obviously, this is intended for children, but he's trying so hard to have those mother-son moments that he was able to get with Catherine O'Hara and Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, and it just doesn't work. Because Laura Flynn Boyle we know nothing about, other than she might be a terrible mom.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get redeeming qualities from her other than she is upset that her child is kidnapped, which is baseline.
Yeah.
The low bar, you were upset about that.
Or she's upset by the way he gets his photo in the paper.
Yeah. So, yeah, those heartstrings don't really get pulled particularly well there. The bumbling criminals are the highlight of the movie, obviously, because you got Joe Mantegna, you got Joey Pants, and you got the other guy who's good in his time. And yeah, that's about it. And we got the schmaltzy pro-military industrial complex ending with the veterans singing army songs to the baby at the end. And
I had written down it would have been great if Mr. Duncan kept the kid. No, he's mine now.
That's another thing. Mr. Duncan is in this movie.
Yes.
Eddie Bracken from Home Alone 2. But he's in it and he matters only because we know him as Mr. Duncan. Right. This guy does not he's got several scenes throughout the movie where they cut to him. And all roads lead to him the baby visiting this veteran's retirement home. But other than we know him from another movie, there is no importance on this character. So it is a weird choice.
I agree. Yeah, I think, again, I think it's a lot to pad out the runtime.
Yeah.
We need him to go somewhere. So why not have him go to the VFA, essentially?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do like the episodic sort of storytelling of this. It's almost like a baby road movie, all within the city of New York. I do appreciate a good road movie. So I do like this, like, you know, scene, you know, set piece after set piece after set piece sort of setup. But yeah, it is tough to build your movie around something that can't talk.
Yeah,
that's why I agree with Mark, where the movie is without its charm in a lead character such as Macaulay Culkin, or like other John Hughes movies, obviously like Breakfast Club and stuff like that, where the main characters can talk. Yeah. This goes off a lot of the child's facial expressions and like cooing and laughing. But even so far as how the 3 crooks get hurt, it seems almost more malicious than what happened to the Wet Bandits at times. It wasn't as fun. Where you drop you drop an iron on one of them, but this one has they're like plummeting to their death in some scene.
Sure.
That's not funny to me, at least. It's better when you have people tripping over themselves, right? The micro machines, they go flying, or again, there was. I'm not saying what the Wet Bandits went through was a cakewalk, but at least those things are. You can kind of make the argument that you could live through them.
Right. Yeah, I guess that is something that you're pointing at that I was going through when I was watching this. It was like I wasn't getting the suspension of disbelief when someone would be tossed off of a skyscraper under construction. It was like, oh my God, he'll be killed. Sort of reaction that I was having. Or the first scene when Joe Mantegna falls down. When Joe Mantegna falls down instead of jumping across the roofs, I was like, oh my God, he'll die.
Right. Yeah. He falls, I don't know, 5-6 stories.
Yeah.
Into a garbage can that's not open.
Yeah.
So there's that. There, being lit on fire. Certain things, getting hit in the head with a steel beam.
Yeah.
That stuff you're not going to survive.
Falling into cement.
Right. Falling into cement. That's another thing. So I think again, what I was saying is they went back to the well too much. So this comes 2 years after Home Alone 2, 4 years after the first Home Alone. So John Hughes was like, oh, well, yeah, I'll just kind of copy paste. And then as Mark, you were saying, just insert baby.
Yeah.
And I think going back to what you were saying also, Mark, that if this movie were made today, it would have The Rock. I don't think you could make this movie today in some ways.
No.
You have to change it drastically.
That would be one of the comments I was going to make, is that apparently in this 1950s world, this 1950s New York City, nobody looks down at all.
I had that written down, that boomers like to say millennials never pay attention, yet hundreds of people fail to see a baby crawling on the sidewalk.
Is this a period piece?
I think it's in the 50s.
Really?
It looked like it to me. Or the way the cars look, the way they dress. That's what I thought. It didn't look like the 90s.
I am intrigued now. Because I never made the connection. I figured this was sort of like how the remake of Miracle on 34th Street kind of has that throwback vibe to it, but it is 100% it takes place in the 90s. But now I'm trying to think of things that would point. Don't they watch television? Yes, they watch television, guys.
Well, there was television.
There's television in the 50s.
Yes, but there's an Asian reporter reporting in color on television.
That's sad. That would. Oh yeah, the 50s. Yeah, they would not have liked that.
And she was in color. The television was in color.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, the way that they dressed, like it looked like Joe Mantegna is wearing like a zoot suit.
You guys spotted a checkered cab, and you're like, 50s.
50s. Yeah. Well, the way the architecture looked was also very like old school to me.
Yeah, Lauren Floyd Boyle and that all screamed period piece. But it could be just a vibe more than actual period piece.
Yeah, also, it's called old money vibe.
Yeah. Also, Eddie Bracken being in the VFW, he's obviously a World War II vet.
Yeah.
So
he could have been a Civil War vet. You don't know.
The last of the Civil War vets. That's funny.
The Mexican-American War.
Right. I think there's some positives to this movie, but I think it doesn't have enough legs to carry it to the same standards or the same success as the Home Alone movies, where this kind of felt like a Three Stooges movie almost.
Yeah, it's got throwbacks to, Charlie Chaplin with the slapstick, the Harold Lloyds, the other one, Buster Keaton.
The other one. That guy.
Yeah.
No, I think maybe this was John Hughes' way of making a Three Stooges movie.
Yeah, could be.
Or writing one. I have no idea. But it definitely had those vibes, right, where they're slapping each other in the head or pushing each other around.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I kind of feel bad for the three of them because they do have good chemistry together.
Mhm.
It's just a shame that it never got to. It didn't have the right script to really cement them, I guess.
Yeah, you were really hoping that they would find their sea legs and baby goes to China.
Yeah, exactly. Like they escape and they figure, why don't we just go to China where we can rob? What would they rob there? I don't know.
I'd assume it would be quite like Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah,
For some reason, run into the baby again.
For some reason, the family takes a trip to China. Maybe the Cotwells have dealings with Chinese businesses. So like they're getting ready to sell export a lot of the work to China. So like, we're going to go see the sweatshops over there. And they bring the baby. The baby runs into the three of them. That's another. They didn't have a good nickname. They had no nickname for the three of them. That's a problem.
What have they been called?
Well, it's got to be three, right?
Mm-hmm.
The three. I don't know. What were they good at? They didn't have a calling. Yeah, they didn't have calling card.
Yeah. So, Baby's Day Out from 1994 is directed by Patrick Reed Johnson, who directed Spaced Invaders and Angus. As mentioned, this was written by John Hughes. Stars Lara Flynn Boyle, Joe Mantegna, Joe Pantoliano, Brian Haley, Cynthia Nixon, Senator Fred Thompson, John Neville, Matthew Glave, Adam Robert Wharton, Jacob Joseph Wharton, and Eddie Bracken. IMDb score of 6.2, Rotten Tomato score of 24%. I forgot to look up the budget, but let me check it right. Hold, please.
Yeah, so I had you guys on mute because I was looking up to see if I could figure out the time period for Baby's Day Out.
I think
budget.
I think it's 90s.
Budget $48 million.
No.
Worldwide. Gross. $16.8 million.
That can't be.
It's probably all the effects to shoot the baby.
What effects?
The film's budget was a whopping $50 million, which at the time was unheard of for a film that had no major leading stars in its cast.
There's a man in a gorilla suit. There's no effects in this. There's green screens.
Yeah, it's wild.
Maybe they were expensive.
Oh my god.
Yeah, released on my birthday weekend, July 1st, 1994.
Yay!
How old were you? You would have been 9?
Yeah. This didn't open up against Independence Day, did it?
I don't know.
No, Independence Day was 96.
Okay.
94. No, Rookie of the Year was 93.
All right.
So
I'm going to look it up.
That's funny.
Apparently there was a plan for a baby's trip to China, which got canceled.
Yeah, also there was a video game plan. So the flop at the box office canceled a bunch of things.
You can't bring him to China. They would have killed him.
well, no, he's a male.
Oh, that's right. It's females. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Baby Bink is fine. His baby sister, on the other hand.
I was waiting for that to be the way the movie ended. With Lara Flynn Boyle finding out she was pregnant.
That's what I thought too.
Okay,
2 babies, 2 outs.
This opened against The Shadow, I Love Trouble, and Blown Away.
The Shadow? We covered The Shadow.
Is that good Blown Away or are Blown Away?
Oh, wait, we covered The Phantom.
Good Blown Away.
Okay.
But Forrest Gump came out 5 days later, and The Lion King came out a half a month later, 2 weeks, 2 weeks previous, June 15th. So
okay, yeah, this didn't stand much of a chance.
It did not. Little Big League also came out on the 1st.
I think what would have made this movie funnier is more of the baby hurting the trio and not just weird happenstance.
I don't know. I don't like when he starts to become sentient at the end.
Well, you don't?
No, I don't like when he's giving the knowing shaking of his head. These guys don't quit. I don't know if I like it.
He had to grow up faster than normal. He lost his childhood in this movie.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the middle of the two of you. I think it should have been some accidental baby hurting them. Like the baby walks down that plank, that scene. If there was more of that, where the baby's doing things to traverse, and then the things he's traversing is ending up hurting them.
Yeah, because really what's going on is the baby just kind of winds up in a spot, and then the three of them try to get the baby,
Yeah.
But something bad happens to them while doing so. The baby doesn't really, except for the fire crotch. And is there one other? That might be the only time where the baby purposely hurts one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the gorilla is protecting the baby. And then the construction site, he's just kind of wandering around and things are falling on them. They're falling and they're just doing hapless things.
Yeah. It's really just a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. It's more the circumstances that are hurting them than the child.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was also thinking that the movie kind of starts abruptly where the three of them decide to kidnap this child on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was thinking maybe it would have added a little bit more of a story and more character depth to them, where maybe they work for the father's company and are maybe bitter that this guy is, he's rubbing it in our faces how rich he is, blah blah blah. So we're going to show him, kind of thing, or they stiffed him or something. Just like there should be a tie between the three robbers and the family. There should be something connecting them a little bit.
Gotcha. You guys want to get into the plot?
Let's do it.
Okie dokie.
All right, Dan, what you got for us?
All right, guys. Just want you to check out a couple of podcasts. Now, Mark, I'm going to start with you because I don't know how this is working now. Is there still a podcast?
There will still be things on the podcast feed, but there is no podcast prime for right now.
Okay. So I will tell people to still check out the Twitch at Game Vault Pod.
Yep. And the YouTube. All right. So check out Game Vault Pod's Twitch stream at Game Vault Pod. So Mark will be playing a bunch of different games, I'm sure. Yep.
And also check out their YouTube. If you miss the Twitch, they'll put a lot of their stuff on the YouTube, and just give them a follow, subscribe. It's free. There's a lot of cool gaming stuff on there. And also the Top 10 with Tia, where Tia and her co-host Brittany run down their top 10 lists of the week. So if that's something you enjoy, go to geekvibesnation.com, search the Top 10 with Tia, and it should pop right up.
Okay, great. And we are going to take a quick break, and you guys are going to listen to messages from friends of the podcast. So we will be right back. And welcome back. Now it's time to get into the plot for Baby's Day Out. We open Baby's Day Out as John Hughes on autopilot and a cautionary tale of the dangers of literacy, as the whole madcap adventure can be blamed on nanny Cynthia Nixon reading the same book over and over again to a baby with the unfortunate name of Bink. Bink's awful rich parents are Lara Flynn Boyle and Glenn Guglia from The Wedding Singer, a couple of rich yuppies that don't look at each other as they sit down for breakfast. Lara Flynn Boyle is starting to feel the pressure of having yet to exploit her child, so she decides to hire a new photographer in order to take pictures of baby Bink and get in the newspaper. Fortunately for her, those photographers are in the middle of being kidnapped and tied up by Joe Mantegna, Joe Pantoliano, and Spike's dad from Little Giants.
Yeah, this whole scenario and scene here is why I think I immediately just thought it was a period piece. Because who wants to put their... even in the 90s, it was like getting your photo in the newspaper. That feels like a very 1930s, 40s, 50s thing. Yeah.
Sounds like you're coming from a poor person thing.
That could be.
I think he's right though. That's such a weird setup to a movie. Like, I want to get my child's picture in the paper. I think it's very weak.
You guys aren't old money. That's what you guys aren't understanding.
But I don't know if that was ever a thing.
Oh man, you just gotta be old money.
I guess.
That's who this movie is catering to.
Yeah. That's why I don't think the movie could be made today, because I think it would be dragged for the main character's parents being affluent white people.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do want to go back to that. Why do you think this movie won't be able to be made today? In honest.
Mainly because of that. That's what I had in mind, where you'd have to change it drastically, because no one's going to care about affluent white people like that. Where
people rich.
Yeah, exactly. Where they, like you said, they sit down. The nanny is taking care of the child. Where the two of them, the father forgets to give the baby a kiss goodbye almost. Like, all right, well, no one cares about that.
And you could see that the whole setup there was supposed to be that Laura Flynn Boyle thought he was coming back to say bye to her.
No, it was for the baby.
No, like he goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot one thing," and then he turns around and starts just going, "Oh, bye, baby," and then they cut to her sort of looking sad.
I thought he had already kissed her goodbye.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
but I thought that was what she was. I thought that's what she was insinuating, that he needed to say goodbye to the baby.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, you would have to make this movie about normal people, a normal couple who, for maybe there's a mix-up with another baby, they steal the wrong baby, but no one's going to care that rich white folks' parents are losing their child, right? Because that's kind of what happens now in real life, right? If a rich family's kid goes missing, it's not as, there's not a lot of sympathy for the most part. So I just don't think that would fly today if you were making a movie about a child who was kidnapped by bumbling idiots.
Okay. I don't know if I agree 100%. I think people at least show empathy at the level of a child being missing.
They might care more for the child, but they're not going to care about the parents.
Yeah.
They would demonize the parents most likely. And I'm not saying these parents don't deserve that, because they're very clearly, they don't care as much as they want you to think.
Mm-hmm.
Because the nanny knows more about the baby than the mother does.
Yeah.
So I think people would mostly, scold the parents and just hope for the child to be returned safely. And then after that, it would just be all hell.
Okay. When downtown baby photographer shows up at the palatial mansion, it's not the original photographers, but these 3 kidnappers in the worst disguises ever, all in an effort to kidnap baby Bink and get a ransom for him. Ridiculously, the mom, the nanny, and the butler all leave the room, leaving baby Bink alone with the photographers, who immediately tear off with the baby, leaving him behind a ransom note demanding $5 million. Kidnappers take the baby to the hideout, where they get a crash course in baby care, and Joey Pants reveals that he can't read.
That was pretty funny, that scene. For some reason, I got a kick out of when Brian Haley's character was saying things. Joey Pants would repeat them.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, or steal. That's what it would have been if I wrote the book. And he repeats the exact same line. I think that's pretty good.
Parents call the feds, and Senator Fred Thompson shows up. And Joey Pants falls asleep as baby Bink sees a pigeon on the fire escape, which is the catalyst that sets this whole movie of shenanigans into motion. Bink follows the pigeon to the roof. Kidnappers eventually realize Bink is on the roof after jewels on Joe Mantegna from a skylight, and Bink crosses a well-placed wooden plank to a neighboring apartment.
I love the exchange between Joe Mantegna and Joey Pants here when he wakes him up. Joey Pants goes, "Shh, you wake the baby." It's like, what baby?
Joey Pants arguing with the child was great. Go to bed, drink your milk, take a nap. Let's go.
Them two were the best part of the movie.
Meanwhile, Joe Mantegna gets knocked on the head by the very same plank twice and falls down to a dumpster between the apartments when they all try to jump across, with a window AC unit and a bird feeder breaking his fall. Bink makes it down to the street level through happenstance and boards a bus while the kidnappers try to pull Joe Mantegna out of the dumpster, see him through the window, and chase out of the bus. Chase goes through the city as the kidnappers chase in their van through back alleys. By the next stop, Bink has fallen into the purse of a woman, and that gets off and has a run-in with the kidnappers as they make fat jokes as she walks by.
Hashtag fat shit.
Mm-hmm. But then they see him in the bag, and they go try and sneak up on the woman, but she beats the shit out of all of them, and they run off. Bink winds up at a department. Oh, good.
Sorry. My wife and I were watching this, and we kept saying, why wouldn't they just tell the woman, my nephew fell into your bag, or my son is in your bag?
It's a fair question.
Right? They could have done that multiple times in this movie. Oh, my child is in there.
Yeah. But then they see him in the bag, and they go to try and sneak up on a woman, beat the shit out of him, and run away. Bink winds up at a department store and gets picked up by the woman that runs the daycare center, and brings him in, giving him a fresh diaper and setting him down with the rest of the children. He then hitches a ride with a baby stroller and winds up in a cab. Not before he winds up on the news that is reporting on him, and somehow all the adults in the room miss him, even the cameraman. Meanwhile, Bink's parents are on a wild goose chase as opportunists call in with tips, which is what causes the feds and parents to barge into some poor woman's apartment after accusing her of kidnapping their child.
I think Gulia gives that guy, the gas man from Dumb and Dumber,
Mm-hmm.
I think he gives him like $800.
He gives him a lot of money.
He gives them a lot of money. There's a couple hundreds in there.
Yeah. And kidnappers eventually track Bink to the zoo and find him in the gorilla enclosure, with the gorilla taking a real shine to Bink. I guess this movie predicted Harambe.
I had that written down.
I was thinking the same thing.
If that
R.I.P.
were
Harambe.
yeah, but if this were made today, that gorilla's toast.
That's why you can't make this movie today, is because that gorilla survives.
Yeah, I felt so bad for the gorilla, by the way, because
So
the enclosure they have him in is 2 rooms the size of basically like a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah,
That would also
$2,400 rent.
Yeah, yeah. The gorilla's paying rent. Why did they have? So if you look at the box art or the poster for this movie, it's Bink on top of a gorilla on top of the robbers. The gorilla is not the same gorilla in the movie. It's basically someone in a Spirit of Halloween costume. Why did they not have the same gorilla?
That's a fair question. I do not have the answer for.
Because they ran out of money, Dan.
No, they had $50 million to do this. You didn't tell me they ran out of money there doing promotional shoots. We only had the gorilla suit for a day. We couldn't get it done in time.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, this poster is heavily photoshopped, so it definitely could have been a situation where after the fact, after this movie wrapped, they went out and bought a gorilla suit so they could take a picture of this gorilla in a studio.
Yeah.
And then Photoshop it into the shot.
It looks like the gorilla. This might be a weird pull, but have you ever seen the SpongeBob episode where there's a gorilla loose in Bikini Bottom?
No.
I can say I have not, Dan.
Me neither, but it looks just like, it looks just like that.
They make 3 attempts to try and take Bink from the gorilla, but all fail as one gets hand crushed, the other gets catapulted by a broom, and Joe Mantegna gets thrown into the bars of an orangutan enclosure. Bink then moves on from the gorilla and goes to the park and looks at all the happy families and gets sad about it. From this point, we have like 40 minutes and it's split into 2 relentlessly long scenes.
I love in this park scene where he's standing all alone and the mother, the woman just looks up and sees a woman somewhere in the vicinity. Goes, right. Oh, that must be your mom, and then walks away.
Well, the woman does give a knowing smile back to the lady. But then that woman should have been like, wait, I thought that woman was with you. As the one woman walks away. Like, oh, wait, this baby is missing its parents.
It was the carefree 90s, baby.
Yep. Somebody will take care of it.
Yeah.
First, from this point on, we have like 40 minutes and it's split into 2 relentlessly long scenes. The first being the kidnappers catch up to baby Bink and grab him. But as they make their way back to the van, 2 cops show up. And they're forced to try to be inconspicuous as Joe Mantegna hides baby Bink under his jacket, and baby Bink lights his dick on fire with his own lighter. They eventually lose track of Bink, but then track him down to a construction site, where it takes about 25 minutes of slapstick of the 3 kidnappers falling, getting hit in the head, falling into concrete, and eventually Joe Mantegna getting stuck on a crane when everyone breaks for the day. The one time I laughed at this movie is when Joe Pantoliano said, "Hey, we got to get home before I dry." He's covered in concrete.
Yeah.
Back at home, the nanny realizes that Bink somehow following the events of his favorite book and knows that he's going to end his day at a nursing home for veterans. So the family goes to apparently the only such place in the city of New York and comes across the veterans singing indoctrination songs to baby Bink, led by the old guy that played Mr. Duncan in Home Alone 2, a guy that we've seen several times throughout this movie, but is no more meaningful to us other than he played the old guy in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Bink is reunited with his parents, and on the way home, he gestures to the building where he was being held captive, demanding his book back. So the feds go to the building, and they find the kidnappers in Bink's book. And then at home, Bink is put to bed, but he's got visions of a sequel trip to China, which will never be fulfilled. And that is the end of Baby's Day Out.
Yeah. You know, if this movie was made nowadays, the cops would have instantly thought Cynthia Nixon was in on it, when she knew exactly where the baby was.
100. Yeah, she becomes a prime suspect all of a sudden. I remember 2 things from this movie. 1, I remember the gorilla scene, and 2, I remember really liking the robbers' hideout. I thought they had a really nice setup in there, like a perfect view of the city. They got they got a nice big space. They were living pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, maybe rent was due. That's why they needed $5 million.
It's $5 million rent. Oh man, yeah, I think this movie, it had potential. It had some potential, but the scenes are too long. So like, towards the end, right? The gorilla scene took forever. The setting the dick on fire took forever. And the construction site. It just, if you can quicken the pace there, I think it becomes a much better movie.
Yeah, I think this is only a movie that gets its funding and money just because of John Hughes.
Definitely.
Because nothing else, even about the premise and stuff like that. I don't think if anybody else with a lesser pedigree made it, because Home Alone was 4 years ago before this? That was 1990.
The first Home Alone was 1990. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's like, yeah, sure, another one of those. Yeah, look at all that money that made. Even the sequel made a good amount of money.
Yeah.
For
context, the first Home Alone made $476 million worldwide. What did Home Alone 2 make?
Yeah, but I don't even think he could have got this made as Edmond Dantes.
359 million, really.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I can't believe that he also wrote Drill Bit Taylor.
Yes.
Wow.
You know what? Sometimes you have scripts that aren't your favorite, but you finish them.
That's true. Yeah. Like you said, rent is due, essentially.
Yeah. You finish it, and you're just like, well, might as well get something out of this.
Well, I made my best 15 scripts already.
Yeah.
Let's pull this out.
Yeah. Probably wrote it in a weekend.
Yeah, right. He was famous for writing pretty quickly. Just knocking out drafts pretty, in a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
That could also explain why he has some movies that are just like the same movie, but with some things reversed.
Yeah.
I
think he definitely had a formula, right? At different times, when he had like the what were they called? The Brat Pack.
Yeah.
Right. So like that was his home run. That's what got him going. And
I was immediately thinking of like how this is like Baby's Day Out and Home Alone are basically just things switched around.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty in Pink and Some Kind of Wonderful are basically the same movie except it's gender swapped.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, if it works.
Of course you can write it in a week. If you're basically just, I'm not dismissing John Hughes' talent, but it's like he I don't think he could have come out at any other time. I think it was those type of movies, especially some of the family comedy stuff that he did, would not work in basically any other time period. And it's just, catch lightning in a bottle, with the first couple and then just ride that wave and make all kinds of money.
Yeah, he struck when the iron was hot for those types of movies.
Yeah.
It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, he was the first one to make, it's kind of like, I guess you could say it's like this, in a similar sense, striking when like the tide changes is like, I guess, Scorsese in the 70s, just right place, right time, great talent, and just hits at the exact right point and then just rides it, for 30, 40 years.
It's such a crazy run. Vacation, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, European Vacation, Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Come on, man. Some people wish they could do half of that in their.
Yeah, then there's also like Beethoven, Home Alone.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Or do we not talk about Beethoven because that was technically Edmond Dantes?
No, I think. But I'm just saying, it's like, that's an insane run.
That's another thing. He was so prolific at putting scripts out too that he literally had to put one under a pen name or multiple under a pen name.
It's crazy. Hats off to him, obviously.
Yeah. It's just I was talking with a coworker, that I normally talk about the movies we watch, and just like we couldn't think of anyone that had such a stretch of movies that like was in the cultural zeitgeist, like in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the closest thing is maybe from a director standpoint or whatever is maybe somebody like a Tarantino,
Sure.
But I think it's like almost 12 movies that like at the time like were big things we were saying the cultural zeitgeist, not so much maybe winning awards or maybe even big time box office movies, but like you could guarantee that Some Kind of Wonderful is somebody's favorite John Hughes movie, like
it's a John Hughes movie for everyone.
Yeah, it's like it's such a prolific run, and it's kind of amazing with some of the variations, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like
Yeah.
You know, what kind of connections that have to like 16 candles, you know? And yeah, it was just amazing when it popped up with this, because you can sort of see by the end, I mean, we made the drill bit Taylor joke. You know, you can sort of see like, all right, he's either, you know, the times are changing or he's just running out of ideas, you know, and it sort of peters off after, I think, this movie, essentially, I think. But yeah, it's kind of amazing. And it's always fun, you know, finding out these things. It was like the first time I found out that some songs I knew were also sung by Queen. Like I was like, I think when I found out the song, what was it? Because I forget. It was like it came on the trailer for Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was like, wait a second.
Was it Bohemian Rhapsody?
No, it's not Bohemian Rhapsody. That one I knew. But yeah, it's like that moment when I was looking through his IMDb with some of the movies. I was like, wait a second.
Are you trying to remember a Queen song?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the song was from the trailer that I didn't know was a Queen song.
Bicycle. We Are the Champion, Bicycle, Radio Gaga,
Fat Bottom Girls.
Fat Bottom Girls.
That was one later. That was one later. I think it might have been the song with
Flash Gordon.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think it's the one. The one. I'm going to sound like a real dumbass.
You're my best friend.
Yeah, I was thinking like the one with friends in it. I was going to say.
I'm not asking. Yeah. I'm not saying you are my best friend, Mark. I'm saying the song "You're My Best Friend."
Oh damn!
You are my friend.
But yeah, I think some of my best friends or whatever it is.
No, it's called "You're My Best Friend."
Best friend. Yeah.
I feel like we're stuck in Who's on First.
Anyway, but my whole point is that moment with Queen in that movie is the same thing I had when I looked through his IMDb for the first time to actually just scan everything. You know, sort of like, oh, that, and sort of, you know, it's pretty interesting.
Right. All right. Well, that is Baby's Day Out. We got a third segment coming up, but before that, you guys are going to listen to some ads so pay those bills, and we will be right back. And welcome back. And now it's time for our third segment. And this week is 1-star reviews, Baby Movie Edition.
Nice.
So, talk about Baby's Day Out, and Dan's baby is on its way. So, we're talking about baby movies. And this is movies with baby in the title. So, I have 3 1-star reviews culled from Letterboxd. And you guys just got to tell me what movie it is. It gets easier as you go along, basically. And you could buzz in with better names for the babies in the movie Baby's Day Out, because I detested the name Baby Pink. All right. You guys ready?
Ready.
Yes. Let's do it.
All right. The first film, first review. 1 star. Trigger warning. Ed Sheeran jump scare.
Ed Sheeran jump scare. Oh, this has baby in the title.
Yes, in the title.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. I'm going to say just Baby Cotwell. I think that's a better name than Baby Bink.
Okay.
Baby Cotwell. Is it Baby Mama?
It is not Baby Mama. All right, next one. 1 star, in all caps. Where the fuck Hugh Grant? Fuck spelled F-U-K-C.
So that's it? Where the fuck you Grant?
Where the fuck Hugh Grant?
I have no idea.
That's pretty funny, but no. And there's one more right now.
Yep. All right. If there's no guesses, we'll go to the last one. 1 star. Yeah, all right. Like, we didn't know she was going to end up with Colin Firth.
Oh, I still don't know. I don't know my... Baby Cotwell.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good.
Bridget Jones's baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know Bridget Jones. The Hugh Grant thing made me think of those movies, but I didn't know one of them had a baby in it.
Yep, it was the last one.
Yeah.
Apparently, Ed Sheeran makes a cameo in that movie, because those were a lot of the 1-star reviews were all about Ed Sheeran.
So when did that movie come out? It's got to be like 2012, 2013?
I think later. I think it might have been like 2019 or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It was when Renee Zellweger needed some money.
2016.
Okay. Yeah, the first one was early 2000s.
Yep. Alrighty. Next one. 1 star. Bad film. Terrified my 5-year-old daughter. My 2-year-old was unfazed.
So the 5-year-old was afraid.
Yes.
Baby Cotwell.
All right.
Rosemary's Baby.
Incorrect.
Oh, no way. That's bullshit.
Mark, you got a guess? Or you gonna go?
No, but I have. Yeah, give me that one. I have not an idea what the movie is, but I think the genre is in.
Okay. All right, 1 star. You know what? Compared to the other ones, this looks like a fucking Martin Scorsese movie.
I find I'm terrible at these.
The hint is other ones.
Yeah.
So it's a sequel.
Yeah, something baby. Now give me the third one.
Okay. 1 star. These babies are nerds with no business acumen. Not for me.
Oh,
Baby Worthington.
Okay.
Is it Boss Baby?
It is not Boss Baby.
Oh. Is it? Well, I'm just gonna. Is it the second Boss Baby?
It is not the second Boss Baby. It is Baby Geniuses.
Baby Geniuses.
You guys were very close.
When I said the genre thing, I was pretty sure it was an animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just because of the fact that the 2-year-old wasn't scared and a 5-year-old would have a little more sense of scary things in an animated movie.
Yeah, I guess the hint there is that a 5-year-old and 2-year-old wouldn't be watching Rosemary's Baby.
That's true.
Yeah, Dan.
But hey, listen, I was watching horror movies when I was really young too, so I'm sorry this generation is too soft.
All right, next one. 1 star. Weird off-brand Grease.
Musical. So it's a musical, I'm assuming.
I am telling you what the 1-star review says.
I'm thinking in my head.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Yeah, neither do I.
Okay. Next one. 1-star review. This is one of the worst movies I've ever watched. It is truly horrifying. Also, I cannot imagine the psychological damage of playing poor Hatchet Face.
That's the hint.
Big hint there. It's a character name.
The character name.
Hatchet Face. Okay, yeah, I'm still unsure.
Yeah.
Okay. Final guess. Final hint. Really hard to ignore the huge Confederate flag in the background of multiple scenes. Also, Johnny Depp. Boo.
Baby Cotwell.
Yep.
Crybaby?
Is Crybaby.
I've never seen that movie. I know about it.
Well, obviously, you didn't just randomly put those two words together and hope that it was a movie title.
Cry Baby? That sounds like something. I didn't know that there would be Confederate flags in that movie.
But Johnny Depp was the thing that got booed.
Right. Shows this person's priorities. Must be an Amber Heard stan.
All right, next one. 1 star. If you like sitting through an episode of House Hunters before you get to the plot, this is the movie for you.
Mark, unless you have a pick.
No, I don't have anything.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next one. Yuck. Don't separate the art from the artist because this film is a perfect example of this. Throw up emoji.
Baby Cotwell.
Yes.
Is this Rosemary's Baby?
This is Rosemary's Baby.
The art from Roman Polanski.
Yep. The third one was sorry, but I absolutely hated this, and now I'm going to bed angry, dissatisfied that her husband was not murdered, that she got over the whole ordeal stupidly quick.
Yeah.
Hot take. I don't think that's a very good movie, Rosemary's Baby.
I would disagree.
Okay, that's fair. I found it was the pacing was very slow for me.
It's a slow.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Okay.
1 star. Agonizing cast. 1 note. Generic performances by everyone. All the boo-hoo in the world couldn't save this shit.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark.
Okay.
Baby Cotwell. Have to chime in.
Yep.
$1 Million Baby.
It is $1 Million Baby.
Oh, nice.
That was not going to be my guess. Good job, Dan.
The boo-hoo part, because I know it ends on a sad note.
Yeah.
Best Picture.
I believe it did.
What is this guy talking about?
The next couple of reviews was, it is 2 movies. One that apparently will be interesting until it is run over by an exploitative melodrama of the worst kind. And then the final one was, this is the Jersey Girl of Clint Eastwood's filmography.
Wow. It's really harsh.
Yep.
I disagree.
That's such a specific reference.
I don't even think it's like an apt reference.
I didn't say it was a good one. It's just very specific.
No, I'm not saying you did. I just think that's such a weird reference to make. It's not even close.
All right. Next one. Now, this one is a little bit more obscure, but you guys know this movie.
Okay.
First review. Some kind of role-playing shit. What? LOL. 1 star.
Role playing. All right.
I want to hear the next one.
Okay.
Sure.
There's definitely a lot of mother-son relationship issues the writers were trying to unpack here.
Oh, I think I know. Mark, do you want to take a guess?
I don't know.
I think I know it, but
Okay. Do you want to hear the third one and then see if Mark has a guess?
yeah.
Okay. Phantom Thread, but for people with an adult infant fetish.
Maybe I don't know it.
Remember?
I think I do.
Baby Worthington?
Sure.
Is it Honey I Oh no, it's Kid. Never mind. Damn it. I was gonna say Honey I Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah. No, he does say I blew up the baby in the movie. But it is Honey I Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah.
I think I know what it is because I think I've seen it. I think it's The Baby.
It is The Baby. We've covered The Baby on the original version of this podcast.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's a blast from the past.
Mm-hmm. So I knew you guys knew it.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. 1 second. I just want to check something.
Yeah, that might have been. Did we do that for like our 31 Days of Horror?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like when we did Motel Mountain Massacre.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
The Stuff.
Yeah.
Hood of Horror. That one movie with Alexis Texas.
Oh, Zombie something.
Yeah. That's the podcast. That's the Lost Podcast.
Oh, is it?
Yep. Bloodless Zombies.
God, that legitimately, that might have been the worst movie we've ever watched.
Yeah.
It's like right up there with the Pause, Magic Pause. What is it?
The Wonderful Wizard of Pause.
The Wonderful Wizard of Pause. Those are neck and neck for the worst movies.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. This first review is technically inaccurate, I will say, and then I'll correct it after I say it. But the first review is, this was 3 hours of actual hell, and I wish I'd walked out. The inaccuracy is that it's not a 3-hour movie. It is a 2 hour and 14-minute movie.
Okay. It just felt like 3 hours to this person. Okay.
Yes. I can go to the next one now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are going to get this one, but I really like this quote because it made me laugh. It should end with her walking into the ocean like Godzilla.
I know. I think I know it.
Okay.
Mark, do you want to take a guess?
No, go ahead.
Is it Gone Baby Gone?
It is not. All right. I'll give the last clue is Sunset Boulevard for Dummies.
Could have walked into the ocean like Godzilla.
I'll say this is the oldest movie on this list, if that helps.
That's pretty old because I think The Baby was mid-70s.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm
don't know.
gonna be upset that I don't know this.
Okay. It is Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Did you ever see that movie yet?
It's been a while.
Okay. Does someone almost walk into the ocean like Godzilla?
I don't remember.
That's all I'm thinking about now.
That just made me laugh so much that I had to put it in. All right. This is actually our last one.
All right. Let's do it. Let's see if I can get one.
Everyone here behaves as if the law was just advice that you don't need to follow if you have a better idea.
Baby Worthington, just because I was hoping you would pick this movie, and I'm going to take a stab in the dark. This is it. Baby Driver?
It is not Baby Driver.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. All right, next one. They just did not give the private detective's girlfriend a personality, and it's annoying. Also, the main character can't enunciate any words properly. This was a recurring theme in the 1-star reviews about the main character, specifically the actor himself.
Couldn't enunciate?
Yeah.
No, give us the third one.
Yeah.
Okay. The third one is, quite simply, Ben Affleck.
Mark, you could take it if you'd like.
Oh, what is that movie?
Ben Affleck. Or Ben Affleck. What did he ever do?
I don't know if it's Baby in the title, but for some reason, my brain is thinking, when you said Ben Affleck, I immediately thought of the movie with him and Ana de Armas. But I don't know if that has Baby in it.
No, that was Deep Water.
Deep Water, okay.
This one is Gone Baby.
Yeah, it is the Gone Baby.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, most of the 1-star reviews are about Casey Affleck just being terrible.
Yeah. Talk about separating the art from the artist. Although apparently it didn't matter because he was terrible in this.
Yeah. That is our game. I think I made this too hard for you guys.
A little bit.
I loved it.
I mean, I had fun.
I don't want to brag. I got most of them. I'm not. I don't want to brag or anything.
I will say this: two things can be true at the same time. At least for me, the game was a little difficult, and those reviews are fucking hilarious, and it was well worth feeling an idiot.
No,
the Godzilla one is going to live with me for a while.
That's one of my favorites.
Because it's such for people that have seen Godzilla movies. Yeah. It is such a specific reference that now that's all I can just. I'm just laughing. Think of a movie that just ends with someone walking into the ocean like Godzilla.
In pretty much every movie, that's how it ends. Every Godzilla movie, he just fucks off to the ocean after leveling an entire city. All right, guys, I'm out, and then just wanders off. More movies should end that way. Be them Godzilla or a baby movie. Baby Bink should have wandered into the ocean at the end of this.
Betty Davis and whatever happened to Baby Jane.
Is she the one that should have walked into the ocean?
I think Betty Davis. Yeah. I mean, Joan Crawford's in a wheelchair in the movie. She wasn't going to do any walking.
She could roll into the ocean.
All right, well, that is our episode on Baby's Day Out. This could be the last episode Dan's on for a bit.
Yeah, it's unless I somehow come into a lot of money, then I could have a nanny raise the child.
Don't get Cynthia Nixon.
No, I should, because in case the kid gets kidnapped, she'll know where to go.
Yeah.
Although maybe not Cynthia Nixon now.
She
probably doesn't care anymore about things.
Yeah, she's all in politics.
Yeah. She'll be too busy indoctrinating my child. Unbelievable. With the woke mind virus. I'm just assuming that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully, I'll be back as soon as I can. I do enjoy doing this, obviously, but kids come first, apparently.
Yeah. Even on the Titanic.
Pull a Billy Zane.
Absolutely.
As a child or as a younger person, I thought that was despicable. Now, Dan Aquino now would 1000% do the same thing he did to get off a sinking ship or anything. Yeah, I'm taking a kid.
You just got cucked by some street urchin. It was like Aladdin cucked you. And yeah, I'd need to leave for that reason alone.
And in the end, he gets the last laugh. He's alive, and he's still rich.
Exactly. I like a sequel movie featuring Cal.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, Man About Town.
He would probably tell stories about how he survived the Titanic. Like, I did everything I could to save them, and I'm only one person, unfortunately. I can only do so much.
Mm-hmm. Talk about how his wife left him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in a different sense of the word now.
So you gotta make your own luck, man.
Exactly. There you go. He's a hero.
Yep.
He did save a child. So
save the child. How many children did Rose save? 0.
Well,
I think she had children. So in the long run, she saved kids.
She would have
created them.
She didn't. She wouldn't have saved any kids. There wasn't enough room on that door for them.
Right. And again, at the end, she dreams about Jack when she dies. She doesn't go to see her husband, who she had children with. So fuck her. Hot take.
All right. Well, that's our episode. We're going to end on some light misogyny. This has been Baby's Day Out, the director of Baby's Day Out. Oh, wait, check out all our socials, all that stuff that we always say. You know where to find us, blah, blah, blah. Director of Baby's Day Out, Patrick Reed Johnson. So for Dan Aquino and Mark Myers, this is Anthony DeVecchio telling Patrick Reed Johnson, well, you certainly made a movie, didn't you? Thanks for listening to They Call This a Movie. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at TicTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. You can also check us out on TikTok at They Call This a Movie.